afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Welcome to Yaaka Digital Network and the online teaching. I'm Teacher Joan Nachans. I teach economics and computer. Before we start, I would like to know some of your expectations. Then we proceed. Peter Kusima, what do you expect from these lessons? Briefly, you can give only one or two expectations.
I expect to get more knowledge from this.
Yes. That's a good one. Joseph, are you with us? Can you tell us what you expect?
Well, I expect better understanding of the subject as we get along. Yeah.
More knowledge? All right. Morris,
Yes, yes.
you're welcome. Can you tell us, please, what you expect from this?
Um, I expect to get more knowledge. Basically, I want to learn how to code and that stuff. I want to do computer software when I grow up. I love computer very much, and yeah.
That's a nice one. All right. So you are on the right platform, on the right network. So if you continue being with us, studying with us, I assure you that you will learn each and everything that you have just listed in your expectations. So today I want us to look at some topic, a senior theory topic, that is computer communication. We've heard about this before, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Right. So basically, I want this class to be live. I'm not going to do teacher centered, but we are going to be discussing, because there is nothing new here. We have heard about each and everything. For example, computer communication, the topic we are covering now. We know what computer is, and we know what communication is. We've been communicating, and we are now communicating. So these things are not new. We should just embrace them and then have life move on. So when we talk about, I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, but the words aren't so clear.
All right. Are they clear now?
Yeah, that's better.
So we just have here some objectives. What we are going to look at in this topic, we have the terminologies, different terminologies. We will understand each terminology. Then the importance of computer communication. We have limitations, transmission media types, wireless broadcast, data transmission, and the three others down. So basically, I want us to first bring in our views about computer communication. We know what computer is and we know what communication is. So I would like to call upon any of you to share with us what computer communication is according to your own understanding. Yes, Divine. Joseph, you're putting your hand up. Can you share with us what you understand? Joseph, can you hear us? Peter, yes, Peter, you're putting your hand up.
Computer communication is the sending and receiving of messages with the help of a computer.
Thank you so much. We know that communication refers to sending and receiving. Okay, fine. So that's his view. Thank you for that. Samantha, do you have any idea about that? Samantha, Morris?
Uh, um, I think computer communication is like the transmission of data between two computers.
Said computer communication refers to sending and receiving. I'll be saying that computer communication involves transmission of data and information over a channel. So there are some basic terminology. Sorry for that. I was saying that there are some terminologies or concepts that we should not miss in our definition. There is transmission, there is data and information, what you're transmitting, and there is a channel, and then computers. So when we look at computer communication, we shall say that computer communication is the transmission of data and information over a channel between two computers. I hope you can see it on your screen. Can you see my screen? Morris, Kusima, are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So when you talk about computer communication, it involves transmission of data and information. But you will not stop on that. You need to include their channel, then computers. That's why it is transmission of data and information over a channel. A channel is where you're transmitting your data. It's the media you're using to to transmit your data and information, and you're sending or you're transmitting this data from one computer to another. That's why we have between two computers. So you're transmitting data from computer A to computer B, but you're using a channel or a media to transmit this data. So make sure that in your definition, you do not miss out transmission, you do not miss out data and information, a channel, then computers. So that's the very first terminology we are looking at in this topic. So when you look at, we have some illustration, I think it's here. Yeah, this illustration is showing us what we have talked about, computer communication. You're seeing the two computers and you're seeing data. So it's this data that is being transmitted from computer A to computer B. And this purple lining is our media or is our channel that we are using.
That is a computer.
So the two computers here, we have data here and the two computers and the channel is here. So this indicates computer communication. All right, we have another terminology. Another terminology is a computer network. Can we have anyone to talk about computer network? Anyone who has any idea about computer network? You unmute and give us your idea. Okay, we shall proceed because we do not have much time. So when we talk about a computer network, it's the collection of two or more computers and devices connected by channels. That is to enable those computers communicate with each other and share resources. So when we talk about computer network, first of all, a network cannot be without a group of people or a group of computers for the case of computers. So when we talk about computer network, a network itself, it means that you have to be with two or more computers, and that's why we say that it's the collection of two or more computers, not only the computers but only devices. So what makes this a network? They have to be connected, and that's why we say collection of two or more computers and devices connected. And what do we use to connect these devices? Or what do we use to connect the computers? We use the channels or the media. So we use channels to connect two or more computers, and the purpose of connecting these computers is to communicate and share resources. So basically, that explanation gives out to the definition of a computer network as a collection of two or more computers and devices connected by channels so that they can communicate with each other and share resources. Are we together about computer network? Patrick, Senyange, are we together? Meanwhile, you can mute your mic if you're not speaking. So
Yes. Yes,
all right.
we are.
Okay, that's nice. So we have talked about sharing resources under computer network. One may ask that which resources do we mean here? So the resources we share using the computers that are connected on the network are, we have data, we have the single internet connection, software, peripherals, processing power, information, and so on. So that's another terminology that we have, and the other terminology we are going to look at is encoding. Encoding. So,
Excuse me, teacher.
yes.
What is filial devices?
Oh, filio, peripheral.
Refer.
Peripheral devices.
Yes.
Thank you for that question. We have looked at computer network, and we have said that one of the resources that we share using the computers is what we call the peripheral devices. And the question has come, what do you mean by peripheral device? Right. A peripheral device or peripheral devices. Sorry? Okay, Patrick, can you mute your mic because I'm getting feedback here. If you're not speaking, you mute your mic. Okay, peripheral device, these are hardware devices. Actually, these are devices that are connected onto the system unit. There is what we call a system unit, that rectangular box that encloses all the computer devices that are found inside. So when we talk of a peripheral device, is any auxiliary device. For example, we have what we call a mouse, a keyboard. There are other devices. There are other devices like image scanners, loudspeakers, and so on. Are we together, Patrick? Patrick, who asked you the
Yes.
question? Okay. So we move on to the next terminology, that is encoding. Encoding, we have an illustration just down there on the screen. You're seeing sending device, send a digital signal, then receiving device, receive analog signal. So when we talk about encoding, this involves conversion of data from digital signal to analog signals. As you're going to transmit your data, this data is supposed to be converted from digital to analog for the media or the channel to transmit it to the receiving device. So this process is called encoding. Encoding involves converting the digital signal to analog signal. As we see there on the screen, process through which information from the sending device is converted into signals which the communication medium can carry. So for this case, the communication medium can carry only signals that are in analog form. So that's why it is supposed to be converted from the digital signal to the analog signal for it to be transmitted. Any question about encoding? No questions? All right, we can move on to the next terminology, that is transmission. Since we started the lesson, we have been talking about transmission. So we need to know what transmission is, and we talked about it, I think, in the definition of computer communication. So can we have someone to tell us what he or she thinks transmission means? Kusima, Peter, any idea about transmission? Samantha, Patrick, anyone with an idea about transmission? We have been talking about transmission. Transmission, what does it mean according to you? Right, in our definition, computer communication, we said, actually, Peter, you gave in your idea that computer communication refers to sending and receiving of data and information. And I told you that instead of sending and receiving, we shall be using the other terminology or the other concept, which is transmission. And I told you that transmission means the same as sending and receiving. So if we talk about transmission, what comes in your mind should be sending and receiving. And for this case, we can phrase it as that process through which the signals are sent out to the receiving device, and that is supposed to be through a channel. Everything you're sending should be through a channel or a medium. So transmission, we see it as a process through which the signals are broadcast or sent out through the medium to the receiving device. And sent, that is sending. So basically, transmission involves that process of sending or broadcasting signals to the receiving device, and that is through a medium or a channel. Okay, we'll look at the other terminology, which is decoding. We talked about encoding, and we said that encoding involves conversion of digital data to analog data or analog signal. And when you look at decoding is actually the opposite of encoding. So if encoding involves conversion of digital to analog, then can we have someone to tell us, to guess what decoding could mean? Because we have said that encoding is the opposite of decoding, and we said that encoding involves converting digital signal to analog signal. So what do you think decoding could be? Yes, Peter. Kusima, Peter. Can we hear from you, Peter? Joseph? Joseph, Samantha, Patrick. I told you it is supposed to be a student-centered lesson, not teacher-centered. So I welcome your ideas. Don't shy away to bring in your ideas. Okay, so we said that encoding, if encoding involves conversion of digital signal to analog signal, decoding will be conversion of analog signal to digital signal. As simple as that. So encoding, if we say that encoding is a process through which information from the sending device is converted into signals which the communication medium can carry, that is the analog signal. So decoding, we shall say that it involves that process through which signals are converted back into the information of its original format. So we are converting the signals back to the original version. And yeah, that's it. Process through which the signals are converted back into the information of its original form in the receiving device. So after converting the signals to the format the medium can read, after it is being transmitted to the receiving device, it is going to be converted back to its original form, and that is decoding. Oh, we move on to another terminology, that is telecommunication. Um, can we have what communication is? The one behind Patrick Senyange. Can you share us something about communication, what you know about communication, according to you? Unmute your mic and tell us what you think communication is.
Communication is the receiving and receiving of messages.
All right, that's a nice one. So communication involves sending and receiving messages. And for sending and receiving, we said that we shall be using a terminology that is called transmission. So we shall say that communication involves transmission of data and information. Data and information, not messages, because we are in computer. In computer, we have those our two terminologies, that is data and information. So instead of saying messages, we'll be using data and information. And instead of sending and receiving, we'll be using transmission. So in simple terms, communication refers to transmission of data and information. And telecommunication, the difference between communication and telecommunication is, for telecommunication, actually the data and information, these things are transmitted over a long distance. So from the definition of communication, you will need to just add over a long distance. So can we have the definition of telecommunication from that explanation? Patrick?
Is the transmission of data and information over a long distance.
Perfect. So that's our definition for telecommunication. As you can see it there, refers to transmission of data and information over a long distance. And we have an example here, television. So we see that television information and data is easily transmitted over a long distance, that a person who is even in Lila can get the information through watching a TV, yet the station is in Kampala. So that's it. That's what we mean by transmitting data over a long distance. We also have another terminology. Move on to the next terminology, that is teleprocessing. When we talk about teleprocessing, involves accessibility and modifications, I think, of computer files that are located elsewhere. Yeah, as we can see on our screen, it refers to access and modification of computer files located elsewhere. So teleprocessing involves that accessibility and modification. Modification is to modify something is to make it more digital. Actually, you modify it, and computer files, you all know what computer files are. So the process of accessing and modifying those computer files that are located elsewhere is what we call teleprocessing. Right, we have our other terminology, that is downloading. Downloading. Before we continue to downloading, do you have any question about the other terminologies that we've looked at?
Maybe
Maybe.
decoding.
Oh, okay. We said that decoding involves converting data back to its original form. Remember, we said that decoding as the transmitting data, that data is going to be converted into analog signal. Why analog signal? Because the medium can only read the analog signal. So this data is going to be transmitted, is going to be converted into the format that the channel can actually read, or the medium that can actually read. That's encoding. And I told you that decoding is the opposite. Decoding is the opposite of encoding. So if encoding involves conversion of digital to analog, then decoding will be conversion of analog to digital. Basically converting the data, the signals to back to its original form.
Thank you.
Right. So can we proceed? Peter, you don't have any question? No question. Okay, we'll proceed to analog to downloading, sorry, as our other terminology, downloading. So I'm sure you've all downloaded before. You download the movies, you download songs, you download games, you download whatever you download. So Patrick, can you tell us what you always do downloading, what it means?
Come again. I beg your pardon.
I have said that you always download. You download music, movies, games. So we need your idea about downloading in your own language, in your own terms.
I think it is just a way of making a file personal to you
Okay, that's nice.
by getting it from another platform.
Okay. Thank you for that input. It's not far. Actually, it is right. So when we talk about downloading, that is it involves transferring a file from any other platform, as I said, it can be a computer or any other, it can be internet. So as you download, you download it to your personal folder or file, you make it personal, and that is what we call download. To download is to transfer a file to your computer from another. It could be two computers, one doesn't belong to you, so you transfer a file from the computer that does not belong to you to your own computer you have downloaded to your own computer. It can be from internet, you download it and then save it on your computer. So you see on our screen, downloading. To download is to transfer a file to your computer from another. That is downloading. And downloading has an opposite. The opposite of downloading is uploading. As we are looking at these terminologies, when you look at downloading, uploading should also come into your minds. And one is the opposite of the other. So uploading is the opposite of downloading. Downloading is the opposite of uploading. So if we say that downloading means transferring a file to your computer from another, what do you think uploading means?
Uploading me?
Mm.
Yes.
Yes.
Uploading is the transfer of data from one computer to another computer.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. One of those computers should be yours. So can you include that in the definition?
From a personal computer to another computer.
Thank you so much. So uploading is actually that. It involves transferring a file from your computer to another.
Okay.
So that's it on our screens. Uploading means to transfer a file from your computer to another. Unless there is a question about what we have looked at so far, maybe uploading and downloading.
I have a question.
Yes, go on, please.
What do you term a screenshot? What is that? What term can be used to mean a screenshot? Is it also downloading?
Oh. Okay, as you do a screenshot, is asking whether it is also downloading. Technically, yes, it is. So a screenshot can actually mean the same as downloading an image. Downloading an image, because when you take a screenshot, that becomes an image, isn't it? So technically, a screenshot can mean downloading an image.
Okay.
Yeah. Kusima, you're quiet. Are we together?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, that's nice. We can have our other terminology, that is throughput. We have what we call throughput as another terminology under computer communication. So when we are talking about throughput, we can look at the rate of how much data is moved. So we have been talking about transmitting data and information. Everywhere there is transmitting data, but at what rate is this data being moved or transmitted, and in which period? So in this throughput, we are looking at the rate of how much data is moved during which period of time. So we look at time, we look at the rate, we look at the amount of data that is being moved. Those three will make up a definition of the throughput as the rate at which data is being transmitted or of a certain period of time. So from our screen, we can see that it refers to the rate of how much data is moved during a certain amount of time. So you'll be counting, taking note of the rate at which your data, if you talk of data, you have to put in mind that how much data is being moved and then the time. So that is basically the amount of signals that can travel over communication channel is called bandwidth. So as we talk of the throughput as the rate of how much data is moved during some certain amount of time, we look at the amount of data that actually travel over communication channel. That is the bandwidth. So when you talk about the bandwidth, you think of the amount of signals that can travel over a channel. So the higher the bandwidth, that is the more data and information the channel can transmit. If you have a very high bandwidth, it means that you will be able to transmit a lot or more data and information to the other person that has a low bandwidth. So if you have a low bandwidth, expect to transmit less data and information compared to the other person that is using a higher bandwidth. Oh, okay, we can move on to another terminology. We have what we call data encryption in computer communication. So here we have two terminologies. We have data and we have encryption. To encrypt can mean coding. Actually, that encryption involves coding. So you encrypt your data so that no one can get that data. No one will understand what you did by some information that you have said. If you code out information, it's only you who can convert that information. Maybe if you share the codes with some other person. So it means that you will be assured of the security of that information. So data encryption is the process of converting data into coded form to prevent it from being read or understood by unauthorized people. So you make sure that your data is in coded form and this format should only be known by you and maybe to the authorized person that you want to understand the information. It means that if I code my information, I don't expect someone to come from anywhere and interpret that information because it is in coded form. For example, you can say that if I want to code a word or a sentence like I love you, I can say that I will stand for one, love will stand for two, three will stand for you. That's just an example. So if I write my 1, 2, 3 and send it to someone through another person, so that person that is acting as the channel will not understand what 1, 2, 3 will mean, but personally, I will be knowing that what they have coded means this. And to the receiver, of course, I will have told that person that if I write this, it means this. So it's basically for data security. You code your data to prevent the accessibility of the unauthorized personnel. So from our screen, we can see that data encryption is the process of converting data into coded form to prevent it from being read or understood by unauthorized people. And there is that continuation confirms that it is very difficult for anyone to decode the coded data without a separate key. So you have to be with key. For example, we have talked about 1, 2, 3. 1 representing I, so that's the key we are talking about. So if you do not have the separate key, you will not be in position to actually decode the data, the encrypted data. So that's what we look at, data encryption. After data encryption, you can look at communication in software. Do you have any question about what we have covered so far? I want us to stop here today. And then when we come back, we shall proceed from communication software. Peter, do you have a question? Any question? Any question about what we have covered today?